fulfillment is never going to be tied to an object. Fulfillment is really helping someone get to where not just they want to go, but where they were created to go. Every human has some responsibility, and that stewardship is so important. So I think true fulfillment is helping them get to, kind of their desired end state. And so there's so much fulfillment in that. It's never tied to an object. It's not another house, another dollar, another car, another vacation. It's really making an impact in someone's life. And if I can inspire people to do that, then I'm fulfilled.
Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
It's interesting, the whole time thing. We talk about taking things for granted, and time would definitely be one of them, right? Like, if you knew that you had 30 years left to live and you were counting down, you would live your life differently.
You would.
And I was challenged on that last year at an event. They said, how old's your dad, to somebody? And he said, oh, he's 70. And they said, you realize he's going to possibly pass away in the next 6 years. How many times you visited him this last year? He said, once. He said, well, you're going to see him 6 more times.
Yeah.
And it was like, like putting a number to that is like, really got to pay attention to where we're investing our time, because we're too busy to go visit our parents or whatever, but there's only a few more visits left. So talk to me about your Aspire for More.
Yeah. So the Aspire Tour was something that we created 2 years ago. And I've always been a fan of building community. Build community, and then do some data science, determine what that community needs, and then serve that community. So my biggest exit ever was an insurance company. And in that exit, it was tied to a community. It was tied to real estate. And it was a community we built and realized that we really needed a product, insurance, to serve that community. And so Aspire was really our attempt to really aggregate small businesses on a national level. And we did that starting 2 years ago, and thought we'd try one event. And we sold that at first event out in Dallas. And then we thought, well, let's try it again. And we sold out Fort Lauderdale, and then we sold out Denver, and it just snowballed. And, then I think a year ago, we were called the world's largest business tour, and we've still been doing it every single month. And so every single month, we have 3,000 to 5,000 people in typically an event center, a hall, a ballroom, an arena. We've had big ones in Madison Square Garden, and we did the Toyota Center in Dallas. And so we've done some really large ones too. But really it's for aspiring entrepreneurs who either have a business or they aspire to have a business. And they're looking for opportunity. They're looking for, inspiration, but more, they're looking for authenticity in the struggles and the opportunities also in business. And so we put a lot of celebrities on the stage that are prerequisite for them is to be authentic. If they're not authentic, they don't get asked back. And so you have people like Marcus Lemonis from The Prophet, and you've got Kevin O'Leary, and you got a lot of the Shark Tank guys. Mark Cuban's been there, but then you also have people like Alex Rodriguez, who's an amazing businessman and a Hall of Fame baseball player, right? Magic Johnson, who is right now building $1 billion airport. It's just like some really fascinating ones. And then you've got, Kendra Scott, who is a $1 billion business owner, and she has the jewelry line. And you've got some amazing celebrities, but ones that are willing to open up, talk about business, talk about the hardships of life, and be authentic and real on stage. And so that's really what the Aspire Tour is. We have the next 12 months booked out. And we'll do our big first virtual Aspire in May. And so that'll be our first time we're going to actually go after 100,000 people live and do that on a virtual level. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Out of that, we've built a few people have told us that it's the world's largest mastermind. We have a huge mastermind, around 3,000 members as part of that mastermind. and really just serving them as best as we can.
What aspire for more is really just living more up to your potential, right?
It is. And also the big overarching method is when you live up to your potential, that you should create impact on
Mhm.
others.
Yeah.
And so it's very much tied to my nonprofit, Impact Others. And
Mhm.
that, if you find a step to success, that you'll still not find fulfillment unless
Yeah.
you're actually taking others with you.
Yeah. I remember very, very vividly. I was raised very Dave Ramsey.
Mhm.
Um, and I, 29 years old, we sold off some real estate, and I owned our house free and clear, had no debt. And I remember the letdown
Mhm.
because that was my goal. Like, and I thought I was, and nothing against being debt free. It's
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
but it was meaningless because my purpose
Mhm.
wasn't for other people.
Sure.
It was for me.
Yeah.
And had I had the purpose of let's get debt free so we can serve more people, I think it would have been different. But it was, and so to your point, I think to your point, when we build a big business, but the purpose is to serve others, these entrepreneurs, they'll be so much more satisfied in building it. They won't probably burn out because the cause is bigger than a bank account, and they'll be happy to see their work in whatever they're doing, drilling wells or whatever,
Sure.
So,
Yeah, true fulfillment is not about amassing wealth or success for ourselves, but it's
mhm.
finding the most successful place that we can be as in what we've been given, and then
Yeah,
making an impact on someone else. Like the fulfillment comes when you're actually impacting others.
yeah, for sure. Um, Talk to me a little bit about your book.
Sure. Yeah, I've written. It's interesting. I've written 3 books, and I've published 2 of them, and then I decided to unpublish one of them
Really?
because yeah, I love to write,
I
and
just
I
know about the Titan.
Yeah, and that's the only one that's truly published right
Okay,
now. And it's really because every time I write a book, I think it's actually for me, and then I never
sure.
think. And so it's like I write it. So I've got 3 or 4 more that I probably should publish. But the book that's out right now is called The Titan Doctrine,
Hmm.
and it's 8 principles to Titan leadership. And it was one that I felt compelled to put out mainly because, at one time I had 86 companies that were running concurrently. So 86 leaders of these companies, like real employees. These aren't just like LLCs. These are legit
Hmm.
companies that are running concurrently. And in that, I found that there were consistent patterns of things that people lacked
Sure.
or they really were underdeveloped in. And I developed these 8 steps, kind of these 8 principles as a part of leading 86 people at one time that were all trying to break through their ceilings. I just found a consistent pattern. And so what I did was I took historical figures to help people kind of see the way out of the issue that they have in their life, and kind of anchor into these historical figures. And so yeah, I wrote that maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it's called The Titan Doctrine. You can get on Amazon and all the places you can buy books.
Yeah. I'm curious about your other two now. What?
Yeah. The
What?
first book I wrote was called Time, Wealth, and Purpose, which we talked about a
Okay.
little while ago. The reason I unpublished that one was because I found that it was really it was almost sacred to me. Like
Okay.
it was my journey. And when I stepped out about 2 years ago, and I'll probably republish it again someday. But
Sure.
I about 2 years ago, I had kind of stayed in the background. I always thought whatever I want is, or whatever I don't want is on the other side of exposure. Like
Hmm.
I just run my companies, I'll do my thing. And I had exited, 76 companies in one year for a little over $1 billion. And I never told the story to anybody. Just like I just went on about my business and started doing other things. And a few years ago, I really was challenged to tell my story and to begin to speak about what took me to success and things like that. And I had already kind of written my diatribe on what I was going to pass on to my kids, right? Like time,
Yeah.
wealth, and purpose. And it was a very sacred thing to me because it basically was like my own thoughts and my own desires as I was kind of coming through that period of growth and trying to find who I was, and it's truly an authentic version. Well, as I began to become, to gain exposure,
Sure.
and people began to find out who I was and began to ask me to keynote events and different things like that, I had published this book. And, it was one of those things that there are certain things that you don't mind defending, you don't mind taking flack for. And this was not one of them. It was like, I was like, wait a minute, I showed a piece of myself that was so truly authentic me. Like,
Mm.
I don't feel like trying to defend this because it really is my journey. And so I just unpublished it. It's like, it's a lot of the reason why I don't really watch. I have a social team. I don't really watch the comments that get made
Sure.
on my, because I put out what I believe I should put out.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like defending it. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is authentically me. And so I'll probably republish it someday. I know there's still copies floating out there. I'm sure we sold quite a bit of it for a little while. And then the third book is really something I'll probably publish this year, which is on the empire concept, which is what we just talked about, with really focusing heavily on your time
Hmm.
versus your money or your capital, and then building true processes and systems around your business. It's how I've scaled every single business I've had. And we have the Empire Operating System, which is more of like a consulting firm that teaches this curriculum to
Hmm.
businesses. And we've got 3,200, 3,600, something like that, businesses globally that operate on Empire. And so I think it's time that I probably at least publish the book that got it all started. A little bit backwards.
Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. You know that one that you unpublished, whenever you're ready to send it again, the marketing pitch will have to be like the forbidden fruit, of
Exactly.
the one that was unpublished and is now available again.
Yeah, for sure.
And that will make everybody run to it.
Yeah, they'll be
Mostly
interested.
because Eddie, that's how I feel about it. Because you unpublished it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get on eBay and look for it.
If I can find that one, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about somebody that's listening to this. Maybe they feel stuck.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a failure in the past. Maybe they've had a lot of success and they're scared of the next level of success.
Yeah.
How do you coach people? How do people break through that next barrier and do more to serve more?
Sure. Yeah. I think that all of us get there. All of us have a ceiling of some kind in our business or in our life, our personal life, and in our business. But I think that most of our limitations we're often unaware of them, because I think most of our limitations are actually tied to our subconscious mind. I think that, so much of the operating system that we've learned over time really then begins to operate without us. I always say, it's the irony of, why would a woman who is in an abusive relationship leave that abusive relationship and then hop right back into another abusive relationship, right? Like, why would a business owner that risks it all, loses it all, jump back in and risk it all and lose it all twice? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. And that's usually because of our subconscious mind, right? Like these operating systems that we are unaware of, right? Like, our conscious brain makes so many decisions a minute and our subconscious brain makes thousands times more, right? And so typically that's tied to our trauma. It's typically tied to keeping us safe or keeping us, giving us a perceived value of safety. And I think that oftentimes what we have to do in order to break through our ceilings is to actually look at our patterns. I don't think oftentimes you can call the subconscious out of the subconscious. I don't think you can say, well, what does my subconscious doing here? I think what you have to do is look at these cyclical patterns that happen in our lives and be very intentional and very aware of them. Why do I always have this certain type of person in my life? Why do I always get this output? Why do I go on a diet and I lose 20 pounds and I get there and then 2 years later I'm right back into the same thing, right? Like whatever it is, all of us have these cycles, every person. And when you start to look at these cycles, I think the big first step is to identify them. I think then it's to call that cycle or that output into the conscious mind and allow your conscious brain to start dissecting down, why do I do these things? What is its purpose? I think that oftentimes only you can solve your own limitations and ceilings.
Sure.
Oftentimes when somebody points it out at me, I can't see it. My subconscious, I think oftentimes will just reject it. But I think that the subconscious limitations we all have of some kind. And I think that looking at the patterns of our life and being very intentional about what is it that I'm getting over and over again over time that I don't want in my life? What is that I'm getting over and over again that I do want in my life? And beginning to look at these patterns. Now, once we look at these patterns, I think that we actually need someone that is looking at it from a third party. And I think that a coach, a mentor, somebody that has veto power in your life is really important. And I think that every person on this planet deserves to have at least one person that's 100% honest with them, right? That's a hard thing to find. I think it's actually harder to find somebody that's going to be truly honest with you than anything else, because nobody wants to be 100% honest with you.
No.
Well, what about this? And they're like, I don't know if I want to tell you what I actually see. So when you're discovering these patterns, I think you have to have conversations with others who are close enough to see the pattern and help you see the choices you're making that get you to that pattern. I think that's the first step in actually breaking through your ceiling. I don't think it's as easy as we think it is. And I don't think it's the next self-help seminar. And I don't think it's the next book you read. I think that most of our limitations are really difficult to get past because we won't identify the patterns and we don't have somebody honest with us in our life. If we will at least do that, I think it's the first steps of actually solving a lot of the issues and the ceilings that we've created.
No, I think that's powerful. And, a lot of those, if you go to counseling or anything like that, or I follow Brandon Turner, and he's all about be honest with yourself first.
Yes.
And if you can't be honest with yourself, how in the world can someone else be honest with you?
Right.
So I think that's really powerful. And we want to read that book and we want to just journal our thoughts and it all gets fixed. But
it's deep work. It's deep work. Most of us don't know why we're stuck. If we did, we would be unstuck. If it was easy, we would just fix it. And when you get stuck, it's deep work to get out of it, but it's so rewarding if you put the time in. It's so rewarding.
Yeah. I feel like personally, I know I am stuck on some things, but it's the deep work that I'm like, I'm just gonna fall back to what I know here.
Sure.
And push the easy button.
Oftentimes, pain is the greatest catalyst for change. Until you experience some amount of pain that, it's the doctor saying to the man or woman, you have to lose weight because if you don't lose weight, you're going to die. Okay. Now I'll get on a diet that makes me lose the weight. It's like oftentimes it's the greatest pain that causes the greatest change. And usually when there's not pain present, we do what you just talked about, which is, well, I'll just take the easy way out because you're choosing, like you've seen it so many times, memes, Instagram, whatever. It's like you have to choose your hard. You're either going to choose the hard, the deep work, or you're going to choose the hard of just dealing with the consequence. And it's the character side of deciding to take that hard path to get to the opportunity in the future.
Yeah. What does it take to find that honest person? Is that just being vulnerable yourself, or is it because that's, like you said, that's hard. That's almost the hardest thing to find, right?
hard to find. I found that most oftentimes I almost have to pay for it because
Mm,
because the people that love you the most have the hardest time telling you the worst thing about you. So you have to find someone who has no bias towards the outcome. That's the
mm,
hard part, right? And oftentimes when you see, relationships clash, they're typically clashing. They're saying, "Hey, you should fix this because the outcome, if it gets fixed, serves me," right? Like, okay, it's like, and or if you're really selfless, you're like, "No, you need to fix this." Then you're desiring to be with somebody who's bettering themselves. So there's still this bias, and finding somebody who's not biased towards the outcome of whether you choose to deal with it or choose
mhm.
choose not to deal with it is hard. Um, and so I believe that it is one of the hardest people, but you have to find somebody who is willing to go down that path with you. Um, Oftentimes, who is a step past you in the journey, right? Like
Mhm.
it's really tough to deal with somebody who hasn't experienced what you've
Experienced it. Yeah.
um, and that is unbiased towards the outcome. And so when you kind of put that parameters on it, it's why I've always either um, contributed to somebody else so that I can get them to coach me, or I've paid for
Sure.
coaching. And I'll tell you, one of the being extremely vulnerable, one of the hardest things when I sold my business for over $1 billion was finding somebody that was willing to actually spend time in mentoring, because once that
Mm.
got published, you don't know what somebody's ulterior motive is. Like trying to find somebody who's
Oh,
not
sure.
motivated by the secret of, like, you think they're 100% for you, and then all of a sudden, when you go, okay, we're done, great, and they're like, hey, could you look at this investment opportunity? And you're like, wait a minute, like, you just discounted everything that we just talked about. It's like, because what are you involved with me for? So it's interesting that I think one of the hardest things in the world is finding somebody who is truly honest with you. But yeah, I'm on the quest for it all the time. I believe that I do have one or two people like that in my life.
Mhm.
um, and and I feel and believe that they are honest and they're open and they have nothing to gain by the
Mhm.
relationship with me. And so I get very, very, it's easier to be vulnerable then, like when
Sure.
they have nothing to gain, nothing to judge you by, then it's a lot easier to be vulnerable.
If you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store. It's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. I'm just curious, Eddie, do those relationships go both ways? Are you the honest person to them, or is it like a coach?
Oftentimes I'm not, because when it's reciprocal, you begin to dissect down their life. And when they say something, hey, this is an area I think
Mm,
you need to grow in, you immediately start thinking like, well, this is an area you need to grow in. It's like,
I see.
I like it to be one way for me.
Yeah.
I don't mind. And I've tried to be that with other people, which is, I find it to be very, very difficult to pull all of your biases out of everything.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I do. I think that oftentimes it has to be one way.
Hmm. Yeah. I can see that. As you were talking, I was thinking of Darren Hardy in his book. I think it was him. He had that accountability partner every Friday at
Every
11:30,
problem.
and I
Mhm.
feel like it. I feel like
Now,
they
an
could do that.
accountability partner, I think an accountability partner is great, and I think that can be symbiotic. I think that can be two ways. But an
Hmm.
accountability partner is more or less holding you accountable to who you say you want to
Your
be
commitments.
and
Yeah.
your commitments. And that's a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Um, well, that's good. Eddie, I could talk to you all day, I think, about all this stuff. I'm just
Mm.
going to keep following you, but could you wrap this up kind of with a favorite book, a favorite quote? What has been a go-to for you over the years to
Sure.
get you to where you are?
Yeah. One of the books that I'm most in love with, I think I promote it more than the writer himself, is Holiday's book on Ego as the Enemy. Uh,
Okay.
it's been profound for me. I love lots of books. I have an entire book list. I make my executives read 4 specific books. I love to read, and I love to make others and really, inspire others to read. But Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday talks about everything that you want is on the other side of ego.
Mm-hmm.
And um, for me, this season of my life I'm in, it is so practical because everyone in my life, because, I've exited businesses, I stand on stage and talk to thousands, I've got lots of followers. They just try to hand your ego back to you every single day.
Sure.
Like it's like, you're great, you did this, it's like, and they tell you these great things about you on stage. And it's like, it's so easy to just get lost in the story
Mm-hmm.
of you.
For the glory.
Yeah, which the reality of it is everything I want's on the other side of that. Not like I have to just constantly dismiss it, like get rid of it,
Mm.
like, because if not, when we have an ego, it places a ceiling over our head. Now we're
Sure.
playing to that person that we perceive ourselves to be. I want to play beyond that, so I have to get rid of the ego, which is, he says, is an unhealthy belief in oneself, in one's abilities, or like in
Mm-hmm.
one's person or one's abilities. And I loved the book. I've promoted it so heavily, and make all my executives read it.
I'm just curious, what are the other 4 you give your executives?
Okay, so that's one of them. So that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
4. The Power of Positive Leadership by John Gordon. John's a great author, has written so many books. I love Horowitz's book on why hard things are hard. He's
Mm.
a great investor, and he's talks about the 10,000 lead bullets over one silver bullet. And then I alternate back and forth on my 4th one, depending on where I'm at and how new the company is or
Sure.
how long the executive's been with me. But Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell is typically the 4th.
I'm gonna check those out. They sound good. Um, Final question for you is, what is Eddie's message to the world? What's your final message to the world? What does Eddie want the world to know?
Yeah, my message to the world is and will continue to be that fulfillment is never going to be tied to an object.
Mm-hmm.
Fulfillment is really helping someone get to where not just they want to go, but where they were created to go. Like I
Mm.
believe very much in the fact that every human has some responsibility to do
Sure.
something for this
Stewardship.
world. And that stewardship is so important. So I think true fulfillment is helping them get to their end desired, kind of their desired end state. And so there's so much fulfillment in that. It's never tied to an object. It's not another house, another dollar, another car,
Mm-hmm.
another vacation. It's really making an impact in someone's life. And if I can inspire people to do that, then I'm fulfilled.
That's so cool. You got kids?
I do. 3 boys.
And I'm sure you're just passing that on to them, right?
Trying my best. 3 stubborn boys, though. 3 stubborn, strong-willed boys. But yeah, 24, 18, and 11. So all spread out.
Okay. I've got a 20-year-old right now, and it's to be vulnerable. It's hard, because I feel like I've laid the path. We've read the books.
Mm-hmm.
We've done all these things, and he's got to figure it out. And it's hard. It's really hard.
You can
It's
only
way
take.
harder than I thought.
It's very hard.
So, hey, how do people find, follow, and
one of the big things that I've made a commitment to do is to answer my DMs personally. I don't read a lot of comments and don't do a lot of my posting, but I do hop on my DMs every day. So Eddie Wilson Official is my handle across all the social platforms. I'm probably most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. So if someone has a question or a comment or needs some information, they can always hit me up there.
That's cool. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on here and pouring back into the world this way.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways in which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.